Welcome to the Wellness on Demand podcast, bringing you interviews with health, fitness, and wellness professionals, sharing proven strategies that empower you to lead a healthier life and achieve complete wellness. Here's your host, Garvin Reid.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to another episode of Wellness on Demand. Today, I have with me certified yoga instructor Jamel West. Jamel, introduce yourself to our listening audience.
Hey, everyone. My name is Jamel West. I'm a yoga instructor here based out of New York City. I've been practicing yoga for over 10 years. I've been teaching for over 5 years, close to 6. I teach adults yoga and mindfulness. I teach kids yoga and mindfulness in schools. I love what I do. I love teaching yoga paired with mindfulness as well. I like the profound effects of what it leads to in individuals, and that's what I love to do. Yeah.
Thank you, Jamel. You know, for our listening audience out there that doesn't know what yoga is, tell us, what exactly is yoga?
Yeah, so yoga, like in a traditional sense, means like a union, pretty much like you're what you're trying to do. You're trying to balance both sides of the body. You're trying to balance like your physical body with your mental mind, and it's a practice that involves just physical movements. That's what we're all accustomed to see. People getting into like all these these weird and like these funky positions and these poses, but there's a mental aspect to it too as well. It positively affects the brain. Just noticing what's happening in the time that you're doing these poses and you're doing breath work, maybe it's a great practice, physically and mentally. Yes.
Thank you for that. And, you know, a lot of times you hear people that do yoga, they're doing a lot of chanting, and there's a lot of like belief that goes behind yoga. Is yoga a religion?
So that's an easy one, yet it's a hard one. So in India, it is in certain parts of the country, it is considered a religion because that's the birthplace of yoga, traditional yoga as we know it. However, most of us, I would say not us, but most people consider it more of a spiritual practice compared to like a religious practice. So I would say it just depends on your belief set. Like for instance, like when I teach in schools, they want to keep it separate from religion and from spiritual. So we can't even do like a prayer or anything like that. Everything has to be based for the school. So I was more of a spiritual practice compared to like a religious practice. Yes, that's the general consensus of everyone that pretty practices yoga right now, especially here in the West.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah. And some folks consider yoga just a whole bunch of stretching. How is it different from stretching or other kinds of fitness that I would normally practice?
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely you stretch and you twist and you strengthen the body just like any other like physical practice that you do. But then once again, there's a mindfulness aspect to it. It's just like noticing what's happening in these postures while you're doing them, implementing the breath, implementing body awareness, which is really important. So the practice is not, it can be fast, but it also slows down because you're paying attention to all of these factors that's affecting your body and your mind as you're practicing the practice of yoga itself. So it's a little different than stretching. I'm a basketball player too as well. So before I found yoga, I would go and I would like do like some basic stretches for like the games and stuff like that. But then like once I realized it was something more with the practice of yoga than stretching, that I know was completely different right away. Yeah, because like I said, it affects like your mental state of being, which is very important.
And exactly, from your experience, how does it affect your mental state of being? How does that all work for you?
Yeah, because to keep it like simple, the thing is like when you're paying attention to what's happening in the body, like I would say like your heartbeat, like paying attention to your breath and how it's affecting like how you're reacting or how you present yourself externally to others. That aspect of it is like the meat and bones of that the type of yoga practice that we all try to seek. So that's the benefits of it right away.
Okay, and from what I understand, there are a bunch of different versions of yoga. There's hot yoga. Can you tell me a little bit about those and how they differentiate and how I know which one would be the right one for me?
Gotcha. So yeah, there's different types of yoga, and they're all based around like what's called like an asana, which means physical movement in the ancient language of Sanskrit, which comes from like the practice of yoga. What makes them different is that a teacher decided that these set of movements linked together, perhaps with this type of breath, will be the way that the optimal way to open up the mind and the body. So it just different types of yoga based on like what they would call like a guru, a yoga master that decides, okay, like these postures work together, and this what allows the body to open up and allows the mind to expand. I would say if you're looking for like a particular type of yoga, I would say dive into like a hatha type practice, a practice where you're just concentrating on like the breath and the movement, but also you're noticing what's happening on different sides of the body, because like a hatha type practice dives into the left side of the body and the right side of the body and how it interacts with the brain. Like we all know that the right side is controlled by the left brain and the left side is controlled by the right brain. So those comparisons alone, they allow you to like feel what's happening in the body as you switch sides. So that's like a basic level class, like a hatha class. I mean, they do get difficult over time, but hatha yoga is like a way to go. Vinyasa is another one movement. Vinyasa is based on hatha, but you're moving a little bit more faster. Your movements is connected with the breath. There's hot yoga. There's hot vinyasa. I would say just do your research and figure out, like, as per the description, which one will fit you right away. Yes.
Okay. And there are a lot of myths behind yoga, like some people believe you have to be a vegetarian to practice. How does that all work? Can you help us debunk some of those myths?
Yeah. You don't have to be a vegetarian. Like when I first started practicing yoga, I just became a vegetarian maybe a year prior, but it wasn't because I was going to practice yoga eventually. It's because I felt like it was best for my body. However, you don't have to be a vegetarian. The practice of yoga teaches us like to know like what we're putting into our bodies. Yes, it could be organic. It could be like GMO. It just depends on like what you feed your body, but just a basic overwhelming awareness of what you're putting into your body. If it's healthy, if it's clean. The thing with the belief with the vegetarianism connected to yoga is that there's a strong belief that you shouldn't like kill animals because they have their own spirit and their own essence. So you don't want to like bring that into your body. So like a healthy, clean living via like consumption of plant-based food would be the ideal way to go. But like I said, you don't have to be a vegetarian to practice yoga. You could be a regular meat eater.
And another myth that I hear a lot also is that I'm not flexible, so I don't think yoga is for me. How does that all work? And can yoga help someone who isn't flexible actually improve that process, improve their flexibility?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of beliefs that yoga is not right for you. I would say like the thing to know is that you should just show up as your own, like show up like who you are. Don't try to manipulate yourself. The hard part is actually showing up to the practice, like actually going into like a studio or even showing up on your mat in your own house. That's the hard part. Once you get through that, then you'll be okay. Now, as far as like stretching and like or lengthening, mostly everyone when it starts, they're tight unless they're come from a background of dancing or maybe like ballet. You have like some of those practitioners that come in that are already flexible already. The practice stretches out the muscles, strengthens the muscles as well. So even if you're tight or you're flexible, yoga is a practice for you. It flexes and it builds like your mental awareness too as well. So there's different aspects to it. Yes.
Thank you for that, Jamel. And can you tell us, what do I need to begin? Like, how do I get started in yoga? So I know nothing about yoga, as you can tell from this conversation, and I want to get started. How do I get started?
Yeah. So how you would get started, once again, just the general awareness, knowing that you belong and the practice of yoga. Like you don't feel like you're excluded from practicing yoga because like you are who you are pretty much. Like everyone's welcome into a practice where you're able to practice yoga. The internet it has a rich amount of information now in regard to like where to go to a studio. I would suggest maybe visiting a local studio, doing some research and checking on like the lead instructors and the instructors there, see how long they've been certified, how long they've been teaching and things like that. Check to see if it's if they have people of color teaching at the studio too, because for the most part, like people of color, we are underrepresented in yoga studios and spaces. So check to see if these opportunities are being offered to us as well. So that's a couple of things I would definitely look at. Go to the website, check the roster, check the staff, check to see how long they've been like teaching yoga. Definitely.
I appreciate that, and thank you. Absolutely right. You want to definitely make sure that you're practicing with someone that you're comfortable with and that you can identify with. So I definitely agree with you to check to make sure that the right representation is there for you. And once I do that, now I know we're in a time of quarantine and a time of not being able to really be in public spaces. How's that changed yoga, and how are you able to continue your practice online?
Yeah, that changed a lot. The practicing yoga was always married with someone going into a studio or gym or healing center and practicing amongst like-minded individuals. So when COVID hit, it changed up the practice a lot. I don't want to say industry because that sounds like more like business, but it changed a lot because now you weren't able to see your teacher face to face. So then we have Zoom now, and that's like the means to go now. It changed because you don't have like your instructor in front of you teaching you and giving you pointers, and just the act of being around other people, you've lost that too as well. But you still have the connection with your teacher via the computer, which is a little bit different. I'd say it affected it positively and negatively. Like you're not able to practice amongst people right next to you and receiving and giving energy to people around you, but at least you're still able to practice in the comfort of your home with the same instructors that you've been practiced with all along. So I mean, there's some positives and some negatives, but you just gotta take the good with the bad.
Definitely understood. And with everything that we're facing these days, there is definitely a lot of positive and negatives. And like you said, you have to take the good with the bad. Even with work and being stuck at home all day, it's a process where you're able to move around before, and now you're not able to move around as much as you used to. So it is definitely a process. As a beginner to yoga, how would I know what a beginner's class is? Is there different levels to it? And do I find the beginner's class and go there, or I can go to any class? How does that all work?
Definitely. So when you're researching the teacher or the student the teacher or the studio that you want to take classes from, they should have a breakdown of all their particular classes. You might see beginner level 1, beginner level 2. We might see like intermediate, novice, like a class where we're doing inversions and arm bounces. You want to for beginners, where they want to focus for like a beginner level class, either vinyasa or hatha. It can even be a beginner level hot vinyasa class, as long as the label beginner is there. Or even some studios might not have a beginner label there. They may have an open level class. Now, if that's the case, you are welcome to take an open level class. You just have to let the teacher know that you are a beginning yogi, and you don't have much experience and you're looking forward to the class. And for the most part, at the beginning of classes, the teacher's always asking, okay, like, who's new to yoga? If you have any injuries, come to me quietly, or send me a direct message now that we're on Zoom, so that they know where your injuries are. Mm-hmm. And also when the questions are queried in regard to like how long you've been practicing, now they know like you're a beginner level student. They might offer you modifications and variations in some of the classes. They might even offer you to remain in what's called a child's pose when needed, or maybe like a mountain pose if you're standing up, so you can like calm the body down and reflect and figure out where you want to go from there. So yeah, either a beginner level class, or feel free to jump in an open level and let the teacher know that you are a beginner. If they don't ask you if you're a beginner in an open level class, then the teacher might be a little suspect. Yeah.
Does that mean I should leave the class? I'm like, wait, you're not ready for this class yet.
Ask right away, especially if the first time they've seen your face. Yeah, they should ask right away. Mm-hmm.
Understood. Thank you for that. And as a beginner to yoga, how often, how many times a week should I be taking class? Should I be 2 or 3, 4 or 5? How often can I go?
Yeah, my suggestion would be no more than 3. At least 2, so that you could work on different parts of the body or different mental aspects as you're going. I mean, the thing is, you can do it once a week, but you're going to get the benefits from it. However, you'll get more benefits if you at least double up in 1 week. 3 times the max, because you don't want to overdo it. It's like when you're in the gym and you're told not to do legs the following day that you did legs the previous day. You kind of want to be able to mix it up. So 2 days a week is ideal. Definitely ideal. No more than 3 for beginners.
Okay, that sounds good, actually.
Yeah.
And in terms of the after I go 2, 3 days a week and I'm starting to get comfortable, what is the situation if I can't do a specific pose or I can't do something that's being asked of me by the teacher? Is that frowned upon? Am I able to just kind of sit back in the class and just kind of relax, or do you ask me to do something else? How does that work also?
Yeah, and that goes back to the teacher and the healing space. If you can't do a certain pose, you shouldn't be frowned upon. Yoga, we have to make it really inclusive. You have to be able to feel a sense of feeling welcomed when you go into these healing spaces, even online and Zoom. You have to get a feeling of being welcomed. And the last thing you want to feel is a letdown because you can't get into a pose or you're being shamed upon. You don't want that to happen. What the teacher will do, what the teacher should do, and what I always do is I give modifications or variations to the same poses, or even suggest or invite someone, if they can't get into this particular pose, be comfortable with finding a comfortable position as long as you stay on the mat. I'll teach what's called child's pose, which is a resting pose on your knees and on your forearms and your hands so you can rest. I'll teach a mountain pose, a standing posture where you're just standing there not in attention, but just aware of what's happening. I'll always give variations or modifications or different options for everything. And then my lingo and my language around that is if you can't do it, it's okay. There's no pressure. There's a lot of poses that people can't do. I can't do every pose, but that's not going to stop me from maybe attempting and then even feeling good if I can. So, whatever you feel comfortable with, go there. There's no pressure. I try to stay away from full expression of the pose too, because you don't want people to think that they failed if they can't get into the full posture. Right. So some of it's built around the language that comes out of the teacher's mouth. You have to make it inclusive and welcoming for people in your class.
I like that aspect of there's no pressure and it's welcoming and inclusive. It's the same thing. I feel like it's similar to when you go to a personal trainer, right? If you go to a trainer that's making you feel like crap every time you go there and you can't do something, you are less likely to want to go back to that person and want to more avoid the gym after that experience. So I like that inclusive and that making everyone feel comfortable and welcome aspect that you discussed. And will yoga, so I'm on a weight loss journey and I'm trying to shape my body in a specific way. Will yoga help me lose weight, and will it help me shape my body?
Well, I mean, to answer the question directly, it will allow you to lose weight and shape your body. But the practice of yoga, coming from my standpoint, from my point of view, is that I'm going to always say respect your body, body image. You know what I mean?
Right.
Body positive. No matter how we show up to these studios, if you feel like you're overweight, okay, maybe you are, maybe you're not. But mindfulness teaches us to pay attention to what's happening right here and right now. And once you're able to master that, or even acknowledge it, can you do it with kindness and curiosity? So treat your body or acknowledge your body like it's perfect. It doesn't mean that you have to lose weight. It's just maybe you want to accomplish some things, but don't be ashamed of how you feel in your space and in your body, pretty much. Like body positivity. That's the way to think about it. But to answer your question more directly, yeah, it will with constant practice, it will shed weight, it will strengthen the muscles, it will strengthen the connective tissues as well. It will sharpen your mind, all those good things. Yes.
I love that. I love body positivity, because you're right. You have to love the skin you're in, because it's the one you got right now. No matter how much you're trying to change it or adjust it, it's where you are right now, and you have to love yourself where you are in your journey. So I really do love that. Can you, for my own curiosity, I just wanted to know, like, I know you're an athletic guy and you've always been been a fit guy. What drew you to yoga? What attracted you to it?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, me and my friends, we played basketball, we played football, handball, like all the sports pretty much, ran. But the thing is, like, when you get older, like, the muscles don't behave the same. So I initially was looking for a means to, like, stretch my muscles out, because I felt like I needed a little bit more lengthening, because I always, like, went to the gym and, like, lift the weights, but, you know, gym rats name stretch. So, like, even like athletes, we stretch, but, like, we don't stretch often. So I want to get a little bit more lengthening in my hamstrings, the muscles at the back of the legs. I wanted more flexibility in, like, my quads too, so I could, like, be able to, like, do certain things while I'm playing basketball or I'm playing different sports. So I seeked out a yoga studio so that I could get this lengthening. And the first place that I went to was a place in Brooklyn years ago, and the teacher was oming, and I was like, wait, what's this oming? What is it? What is this? I'm here stretching. So I was like, this weirded me out. So because of that, that's the last time I went to yoga. And then a little more than 10 years ago, I decided to go back for more lengthening and stretching. And then I realized right away the practice wasn't only about, like, strengthening and lengthening and twisting. It was like a mental aspect to it. So I was really drawn to it. But yeah, initially I just wanted to be a little bit more flexible. Who doesn't?
Agreed. Of course. We're all there. But it's wonderful that you were able to recognize that there was so much more to it than just the stretching and lengthening. And, you know, speaking of stretching, like, when I go to the gym and I stretch after a workout, I'm stretching to avoid soreness, to avoid pain and all that. Does yoga, after yoga practice, will I be in pain? Will I be sore the next day? Will that stretching help, or will it hurt?
Yeah. So yoga, just like any other exercise, weightlifting, Pilates, you're going to be a little bit tight, because you're opening up muscles, like major muscles, and you're attempting to repair, like, connective tissues, and you're going to be a little bit sore. Even the more you practice, if you're a constant practitioner where you're practicing yoga all the time, you're going to be sore after some certain practices, because there's a lot of lengthening and stretching there, and compressing as well as twisting. But also what happens is that when you do all these postures, and when you're going through the postures and your hour class is up, that what's actually happening is that the body is detoxing as well, because you're doing all that stretching and the organs are detoxing. That tends to lead with, like, a lot of buildup. So even when your body's releasing toxins, that can lead to, like, muscle soreness. It definitely, it just depends, like how much you're exerting yourself as well. But you're definitely gonna be sore, but it's gonna be a good sore. It's not gonna be a bad sore.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. I'm not sure if there's ever a good sore, but it's good to know it's not gonna be as bad as the gym.
It's like that dull pain. It's not like you're walking like, oh man, I can't walk anymore. You won't get that. You more than likely won't get that. You'll get that. Okay, I feel something happening. It's like a little dull pain there, but I can handle it. And then a couple of days later, I'm like, oh yeah, this I see what happens. I can stretch. I have more opening there. Yeah.
I could work with that. I like that. I like the way that sounds. Crazy question. It's probably a no, but can I eat before a class, or how long before a class should I eat? Like, when I go to the gym, I usually wait like 2 hours after eating to go to the gym. Like, how does that work?
Same deal. Same practice. You don't want to eat directly before practice. I would stay away from solid foods. 2-3 hours before practice, because once again, you're doing all this lengthening and stretching, but then when you're twisting left and right, you're twisting the body, you're twisting internal organs in the belly and in the other parts of the body. So it's not recommended, because you don't want to have any accidents. You don't want to cramp up. There's a lot going on. You're sweating, and then when you eat, the body is like sending all its resources to the stomach to then like break it down. So you don't want those resources pull from there to assist in stretching and lengthening and stuff like that. So it's the same premise. You don't want to eat 2-3 hours. You want to like save 2-3 hours before you practice to eat. You want to like have that time there.
Cool. Thank you. Jamel, thank you so much for coming by and teaching us about yoga and how to get started. I am excited actually after talking to you, and I do actually want to figure out what I can do to get into a yoga practice and learn more about it and do that lengthening and stretching that you were talking about. Can you tell our listening audience, if they wanted to find you or find the studio that you're teaching at, where they can find you?
Sure. I teach at actually a couple of physical studios right now, but because of COVID-19 and the phases in the pandemic, no studios open right now. So you can find me online. I'm a part of a wonderful new a collective of teachers. We started a yoga teacher co-op. It's called The Connective. TheConnective, The Connective. We offer classes, not just yoga, but Pilates and other different movement exercises there on this website there that we built. I also teach classes on Zoom as well. You could find me on my Instagram, TheRavlers, or modality.yoga, modality.yoga. I offer Zoom classes. I offer meditation. I teach vinyasa yoga. I teach a wonderful practice called yin yoga, and I love to teach a practice called restorative yoga. So there's all different types of yoga. Definitely check me out if you can. Yes.
Wonderful. And guys, I will have all Jamel's details in our notes so that you guys can find him and just follow the link there. Again, Jamel, thank you for joining us. You're listening to Wellness on Demand. Guys, check us out on Instagram at WellnessOD. Like us on Facebook. And until next time.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Enjoy, everyone. All right.
You've been listening to Wellness on Demand with Garvin Reid. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.wellnessod.com.